Hello, hi. I wanted to do a video where I talked about filler and focal flowers when it comes to doing dried flower stuff. I find that filler and focal flowers are somewhat the same as when you're working with like bouquets, but can be a little bit different. And honestly, filler versus focal sometimes is just based off of how you view them. But typically, this is how at least I see, a lot of the flowers that I save kind of mapped out as filler or focal. So I store mine in bins that say filler or focal just to help when I'm doing workshops and stuff, so that when I give directions of like, look for focal, I put them on separate tables, things like that. So examples of focal, I usually say, are the things where you have to balance out what or the amount that you have on there. So they're the one bigger items. So like a zinnia, for example, they're a bigger item. You're not going to put that many on there unless you really want to. But they're also the ones where you have to balance out and use kind of the rule of threes, or the rule of odds. The rule of odds. So like either you use 1 or you used 3 or you use 5. And you need to pay attention to where you place them. Otherwise, they look like eyeballs on whatever you're doing. Greenery, this I would call a filler. This is like a wispy type of filler, which is Frosted Explosion. This is eucalyptus, which I usually take off like the individual leaves when I'm making a wreath with these. If I'm making a small one, if I'm making a big wreath, sometimes I leave it on the stem and make it a part of the little bouquet that I'm wrapping around. But greenery is also, I would say, in kind of like that filler realm of sorts. But honestly, it just depends on what, like I said, what you're choosing to do. I have Gomphrena as a filler because I find that it fills in the pockets, like the empty spaces, but it is a focal in a way of you don't want to have like this eyeball situation. So you want to have odds for this. So that's something to think about with Gomphrena. Celosia is another one where I think it can be a filler and it can be a focal. It just depends on how you're using it. I usually throw it in the filler realm for wreaths, I would say. And then it's more of a focal when I'm doing like pumpkins, because I usually put it as like the part on the stem that's this big kind of ornamental situation that's happening. Let's see, what else do I have in here? Another focal, or could be a filler, because this is like the ball type of situation. Scabiosa or Nigella, but it is one where you don't want to, like, it's the eyes, especially because they are round. So you just need to, pay attention to those things. One that I definitely use for filler for both is Status. Now, if you're making a full wreath of Status, then obviously it's your focal. But this I, can use as a full stem, but oftentimes I will pull off just like these little portions of it and fill it in to empty spaces to help support the other colors. I do that a lot with the white Status because the white will bring out a lot of the color for other things. Same thing with Larkspur. I will pull off the flowers. I'm not going to open this because these are going to puff up. But I will pull off the flowers and kind of fill them into places. I haven't found it works really well for me, at least in larger wreaths. But I'll do some more experimenting. And then if you're using like the seed pods and things, it's just different. It's different textures. You just play with things, and it's really what you want to do. But when I say filler and focal, that's kind of what I mean. And I want to show you some of the things when I did my last little video and I showed my little description thing of stuff. So Status, what else is down here? Oh, Jewels of Opar, of Celosia. There's more down here somewhere. I think this is just more repeat stuff. Oh, Bunny Tails is another one that I have, which I kind of put in the same place as Celosia. This is stuff that needs to get organized. Other greenery, this Green Dragon cress. Oh, and Feverfew. Feverfew, it's a nice little flower head, so it could be, it's kind of like Status. It could be like a focal. You could do a whole wreath in these, but you could also pull off little stems, because they're like little daisies, and make them into kind of like the filler around some of your bigger flowers or your bigger situation. So yeah, the moral of the story here is, when you're organizing your flowers that you get, say in one of at our workshop, or it doesn't even have to be with us, figure out what you feel is going to be your filler and focal flowers for your dried flower design, and kind of map that out a little bit, and then kind of go to town. Now you can just do and see what happens, but I have definitely found, especially with the rounded items, that you really do need to pay attention so that things don't look like eyeballs. All right, that's my filler focal overview tip.